The bustling heart of Hong Kong seemed to skip a beat when a horrifying case unfolded in early 2023. I'm sure many of you have either read or heard about this case somewhere. The victim was none other than Abby Choi, a famous model from Hong Kong, also known by her other name, Cai Tianfeng. What's even more heartbreaking is that the perpetrators in this case were none other than her ex-husband's entire family. This case not only shocked Hong Kong but spread across the globe, with hundreds of theories emerging. What exactly happened to Abby Choi? Why did her ex-husband's family turn into such cruel individuals? All of this will be analyzed from different perspectives as we embark on this chilling journey to uncover the truth. The famous model and two marriages. Cai Tianfeng, or Abby Choi, was one of Hong Kong's top models, known for her glamorous posts on Instagram and frequent appearances in fashion magazines. Not only was she beautiful and talented, but Abby also came from a wealthy family that owned a construction business with stock market transactions in China. By the age of 28, she had accumulated a fortune of over 100 million Hong Kong dollars. In 2016, after her first marriage to Kwong Kong Chi, her schoolmate, fell apart. Abby Choi remarried Chris Tam, the son of the founder of a famous restaurant chain in Hong Kong. Although they didn't officially register their marriage, they lived together for many years and had 2 children. What stood out was that Chris always loved and respected her, even while she continued to financially support her ex-husband's family. The relationship between Abby Choi, Chris Tam, and Kwong Kong Chi was remarkably good. Her ex-husband's family and her current partner's family often met without any apparent conflicts. This led many to wonder, how did a family that seemed so peaceful become the perpetrators of such a horrific crime? Some speculate that the close relationship between Abby Choi and both families stemmed from their past as schoolmates. Others suspect there were secret financial interests between the Kwong and Tam families, with Abby being the link in a money laundering scheme. However, these are just theories. The disappearance of Abby Choi. The events unfolded on February 21st, when Chris, Abby Choi's current husband, could no longer reach her. According to the plan, she was just supposed to pick up their child from school and return home. However, by the evening, Chris still couldn't get a hold of her. Worried and anxious, he decided to report her missing to the police early on the morning of February 22nd. On February 22nd, after receiving the case, the police immediately issued a widespread missing person alert. Chris, Abby Choi's current husband, quickly offered a reward of 2 million Hong Kong dollars for information leading to her discovery. Abby Choi's family matched the offer, also pledging 2 million Hong Kong dollars to help find their daughter. Her close friends joined the search and contributed to the reward as well, hoping to find her as soon as possible. The total reward reached 6 million Hong Kong dollars, equivalent to around 800,000 US dollars. The property dispute with her ex-husband's family. While investigating the relationships surrounding Abby Choi, the police discovered a property dispute between her and her ex-husband's family. It was revealed that Abby Choi had previously purchased a property in the Cathay Hill area for her ex-husband's family, under the name of her former father-in-law, Kwong Kao. When Abby expressed her intention to sell the property, Kwong Kao strongly opposed the decision. Another motive raising suspicion that her ex-husband's family might be involved was that Abby Choi and Chris had never legally registered their marriage. If Abby were to die, her vast estate would be divided among her 4 children, with half going to the 2 grandchildren of Kwong Kao. Naturally, the ex-husband's family would be responsible for the guardianship of these 2 children. With these suspicions in mind, the police immediately summoned Kwong Kao's family for questioning. The first person to be interrogated was his eldest son, Kwong Kong Kit, who was also Abby Choi's private driver and the last person to see her before she went missing. Kwong Kong Kit, 31 years old, was Abby's ex-husband's brother. In 2018, Abby and Kit had co-founded the company Ping Lady, where both served as directors. By 2021, They had collaborated again to open the snack company Bear Pear Snack, with Kit continuing to serve as a director alongside Abby. On social media, Kit had posted photos of himself with Abby multiple times, indicating that their relationship appeared to be quite good. However, during the time of the property dispute over Cathay Hill, tensions had arisen between Abby and her ex-husband's family. Nevertheless, at the beginning of 2023, Abby still hired Kit as her personal driver. On February 21st, at 2 p.m., Abby had a phone call with her friend Bao Tai, and just 15 minutes later, she was preparing to pick up her child from school. Security cameras captured her wearing a long-sleeved white shirt, white trousers, sandals, and carrying a handbag. She stepped into the 7-seater car driven by Kit, and that was the last time she was seen. The interrogation process and the portrait of the suspects. During the interrogation, Kit gave suspicious testimony. He claimed that Abby had stepped out of the car on her own and then disappeared. When the police requested the dashcam footage, Kit insisted that the camera was broken, a highly unlikely coincidence. Next, the police questioned Abby's former parents-in-law, Kwang Kao and Lee Shui-hyung. Upon further investigation, the police discovered a troubling history involving Kwang Kao. He had previously worked in the Hong Kong police force and had been awarded the Long Service Medal and the First Class Medal. However, in 2005, during a criminal investigation, Kwang Kao abused his position to obtain information about the victim and assaulted her. After the victim filed a complaint, Kwang Kao admitted his crime and resigned. The matter was then quietly settled. After being named as the owner of the house purchased by his former daughter-in-law, Kwang Kao's entire family moved into the property. However, by the end of 2022, Abby Choi had planned to sell the Cathay Hill property, which was worth more than 70 million Hong Kong dollars. Despite her promise to make arrangements for her ex-husband and his family elsewhere, this decision was met with fierce opposition from Kwang Kao, and the two had several heated arguments. Although the property was under Kwang Kao's name, with the support of her lawyer, Abby could potentially reclaim ownership of the house if she provided enough evidence to prove that she had funded the entire investment. This made Kwang Kao extremely anxious, as his former daughter-in-law was determined to sell the house despite her earlier promises. A question arises: why didn't Abby Choi put the house under her own name, but instead under her former father-in-law's name? Some media outlets speculated that Abby did this to avoid taxes, as she already owned an apartment in Manhattan Hill. By purchasing additional property in someone else's name who didn't own other assets, she would save over 7 million Hong Kong dollars in taxes, equivalent to about 20 billion Vietnamese dong. In early 2023, Abby arranged for Kwang Kao's family and her new in-laws to visit a temple together. The two families seemed very close, even taking commemorative photos together. However, after taking the statements of Kwang Kao and Lee Shui-hyung, the police discovered that all three members of the family had given untruthful testimonies to varying degrees. The next suspect summoned was Kwang Kong Chi, Abby Choi's ex-husband. Chi and Abby were once classmates, later fell in love, and got married as soon as they turned 18. Chi's family was not as wealthy as Abby's, not a perfect match according to Hong Kong's elite standards, but love brought them together, and they had 2 children. Abby Choi was a beautiful and successful woman, but Kwang Kong Chi was quite the opposite. Since their marriage, he had never held a serious job. From 2013 to 2015, Chi was charged with stealing 39 necklaces, 32 bracelets, and a large amount of gold in the Yao Tsimong area. He was convicted of 7 counts of theft. By 2015, Kwang Kong Chi had started using a gay dating app posing as a high-end intermediary for precious metals trading, and defrauded 4 men of nearly 5 million yuan. In February 2015, Chi was arrested by the police for fraud at Whampoa Garden, but was later released on bail. One would think that this would be a lesson for Kwang Kong Chi, but in 2016, he was sued in the High Court for owing nearly 1.5 million Hong Kong dollars and later fled, becoming a wanted criminal. However, despite frequently traveling between mainland China and Hong Kong, the police were unable to capture him. During this time, Abby Choi decided to divorce Kwang Kong Chi, realizing she had married the wrong person. Custody of the children was given to Chi, but all the expenses for the children's care, as well as support for Chi's family, were provided by Abby. In 2016, Abby entered her second marriage with Chris Tam, the son of the founder of a famous restaurant chain in Hong Kong. Despite remarrying, her relationship with her former in-laws remained amicable until her disappearance. After the three main suspects, Kwang Kong Chi's brother and parents, were summoned to the police station, Kwang Kong Chi himself became unreachable, raising even more suspicion about the family's involvement in the case. However, there was still insufficient evidence to conclude who was the culprit, and the investigation seemed to reach a deadlock. A mother's dream reveals a crucial clue in the case. Fortunately, a few days later, Abby Choi's mother called the police and recounted a strange dream she had. In the dream, Abby said that she was in a place where she could hear dogs barking, the wind howling, and there was a mountain behind her. She also mentioned the name Tai Po. This provided the police with a crucial lead. They discovered that Kwang Kao had rented a house in Lung Mei Village, Tai Po, in February. The house was approximately 50 square meters and rented for 10,000 Hong Kong dollars per month. By the afternoon of February 24th, the police immediately moved to this location and discovered Abby Choi's body, but it was not intact. The victim's arms and legs were found hidden in a refrigerator, while other body parts had been disposed of. At the scene, police found several items, including chairs, tables, a meat grinder, an electric saw, windbreakers, masks, gloves, and various tools related to the crime. By this point, the evidence was undeniable, and Kwang Kao's family had no way to refute their involvement. The murder plan and the disposal of the victim's body. The crime had been premeditated, and the mastermind was none other than Kwang Kao. On February 21st, Kwang Kong Kit picked Abby Choi up in his car and later stopped to pick up Kwang Kong Chi during the drive. Abby and her ex-husband had a heated argument, and Abby was knocked unconscious. By 3:15 p.m., the vehicle arrived at Lung Mei Village in Tai Po, followed by a white 7-seater car believed to be driven by Kwang Kao, which carried the tools used in the crime. According to neighbors, at around 10 p.m. on February 22nd, they heard a fierce argument between a young woman and a man, but they couldn't make out the details. On February 23rd, neighbors saw a man and a curly-haired woman, believed to be Abby's former in-laws, leaving the house. The house had been vacant for some time before it was rented. Neighbors often saw a white 7-seater car parked in front. Interestingly, the house wasn't rented under Kwang Kao's name, but under the name of Wu Jiwing, a massage therapist and Kwang Kao's lover. They had met at a massage parlor 6 months before the crime. One needed money, the other needed love, and their relationship blossomed into a romantic affair. Wu Jiwing not only rented the house in Lung Mei Village, but was also fully aware of Kwang Kao's family's plan to murder Abby Choi. In mid-February, she rented another apartment in Victoria Harbor to conceal her actions. After Abby Choi's body was discovered, police immediately arrested Kwang Kong Kit, Kwang Kao, and Li Shuai-hyung. The next day, on February 25th, police arrested Kwang Kong Chi at Tung Chung Pier, near Hong Kong International Airport. At the time, he was carrying more than 500,000 Hong Kong dollars in cash and several luxury watches worth a total of 4 million Hong Kong dollars. On the same day, February 25th, the police launched a large-scale search for additional evidence in the Sai Kung area. Over 100 divers, search teams, sniffer dogs, and mobile units were deployed but found nothing. It wasn't until the afternoon of February 26th that police discovered Abby Choi's head in a large soup pot at Lung Mei Village. The pot also contained various vegetables, and police believe that the perpetrators intended to cook the remains into soup to make the disposal less suspicious. The person who helped Kwang Kong Chi attempt to flee was Lam Shun, an employee at a yacht rental company. He had promised to help Chi escape to Macau by boat for a fee of 300,000 Hong Kong dollars. On March 6, 2023, the police also arrested Fan Xiaoyin, Kwang Kong Chi's girlfriend, on charges of contacting Lam Shun to assist Chi in his escape. At the time of her arrest, Fan Xiaoyin was on her way to flee from Hong Kong to mainland China. Fan Xiaoyin was the daughter of gangster boss Fan Wanbin, nicknamed Double Gun King, and she was also a social media influencer with over 30,000 followers on Instagram. Shockingly, not only did she have a relationship with Kwang Kong Chi, but she was also a close friend of Abby Choi. On Abby's birthday, the two had taken many pictures together, showing the closeness of their friendship. During the investigation, the police arrested 7 individuals connected to the case, including Kwang Kao, 65 years old, Kwang Kong Chi, 28 years old, and Kwang Kong Kit, 31 years old, all charged with the murder and dismemberment of Abby Choi. Li Shui-hyung, 63 years old, Abby's former mother-in-law, was arrested for obstructing the investigation. Additionally, Wu Jiwing, 47 years old, Kwang Kao's lover, Lam Shun, 41 years old, Kwang Kong Chi's friend, and Fan Xiaoyin, 29 years old, were also investigated for their involvement in hiding and assisting the criminals. The appearance of the 8th suspect. Just when it seemed that there were only 7 suspects in the case, by the end of March, an 8th suspect emerged. Local residents reported seeing a masked man standing guard in front of the house on the day of the crime. This individual was captured on surveillance cameras and is now the next person being investigated in this grim case. By April, rumors spread that the 8th suspect in the case was none other than the victim's half-brother. The director of the West Kowloon Criminal Investigation Bureau, Hong Kong, stated that this case was particularly complex. Throughout the investigation, many new pieces of evidence had been gathered, and more than 10 witnesses were invited to the police station to help clarify the matter. Currently, the police are continuing to investigate the roles of the suspects, and if Abby Choi's half-brother is indeed involved, more people may be investigated for their connections to the murder of the model. The rights of Abby's children and her funeral. While the investigation continues, Abby Choi's assets, which are believed to be the motive behind her death, remain a point of dispute. Since Abby and Chris were not legally married, he has no right to inherit her assets. Abby Choi's children are all under 18 years old, so relatives can apply to be appointed as estate managers and place the assets in a trust. Once the children turn 18, they can apply to the court to dissolve the trust and officially receive their inheritance. In May of last year, Abby Choi's mother filed a petition with the Hong Kong High Court to gain custody of her 2 grandchildren, the children of Abby and her first husband, Kwang Kong Chi. At the same time, she also filed to freeze the luxury apartment at Canada Hill to prevent the ex-husband's family from liquidating assets. This situation highlights the complicated nature of the estate, which has become a double-edged sword, attracting greedy individuals and leading to this heartbreaking tragedy. On June 19th, Abby Choi's family and friends expressed their grief and bid her a final farewell at her cremation ceremony at the Pali Monastery. The 2-day funeral was held in pink, her favorite color, rather than the traditional black and white. Unanswered questions and theories behind the case. To this day, many questions surrounding the case remain unanswered. There are lingering doubts about the relationships within Abby Choi's family, rumors of money laundering, and even speculation about a same-sex relationship between her new husband and her ex-husband. We need to revisit these points of suspicion and consider some possible theories. It's important to remember that Abby Choi was not just a famous model, but also a member of Hong Kong's elite class, the second generation of a wealthy family. Was Kwang Kong Chi's family really as ordinary as the media had portrayed? The reality is that the rich often associate and do business only with people of the same status. However, we cannot deny the possibility that Kwang Kong Chi might have been an exception, a man fortunate enough to have stepped into the upper class. Moreover, Hong Kong has a unique characteristic. Beyond the elite circles conducting business with each other, They also have covert relationships with the criminal underworld. This is evidenced by Fan Xiaoyin, the daughter of a notorious triad boss, who was both a close friend of the victim Abby Choi and a companion of Kwang Kong Chi, her ex-husband. So, we must ask the question, was Kwang Kong Chi involved with the triads? It seems almost too convenient that right after divorcing a wife from an elite family, he immediately started a romantic relationship with Fan Xiaoyin, a well-known figure in the showbiz world and the daughter of a notorious crime boss. Additionally, the person who helped Kwang Kong Chi escape, Lam Shun, was not just a longtime friend but also a talent manager with deep connections in the Hong Kong entertainment industry. This raises further suspicions about whether Kwang Kong Chi was truly just an ordinary man, or if he was being protected by some underground forces. Could an ordinary person have so many powerful connections in both the entertainment industry and the criminal underworld? The questions don't stop there. Details about Kwang Kao's past, including his arrest for rape, raise even more suspicions. Rape is considered a very serious crime in Hong Kong, but somehow, Kwang Kao managed to avoid severe punishment and was merely forced into early retirement. This leads one to wonder, was someone protecting Kwang Kao? And what was his true identity that allowed him to escape such serious consequences? Then there's the complex relationship between the victim's two families. According to a report from Essen Weekly, after his arrest, Kwang Kao hired 5 defense lawyers and even sent a message to Chris Tam's family, Abby Choi's new husband, asking for help in paying the legal fees. This has sparked a theory that the two families may have been part of a hidden network of mutual interests, with Abby Choi being merely a tool in their money laundering schemes. However, these remain only theories, and the truth is known only to those involved. This case, which feels like it belongs in a crime thriller, is unfolding in real life with an alarming and unpredictable nature, regardless of class. From the elite to the common, humans carry dark secrets that no one could ever anticipate. What do we think about this case? From Decoder Box's perspective, this case still has many undisclosed details and lacks a clear conclusion. We hope that with time and thorough investigation, all the truths about this case will come to light. If you have any special insights or theories regarding the case, feel free to share them in the comments section below this video so we can hear from you. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to Decoder Box to get the latest updates on real-world crime cases from around the globe.